Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Paige Strickland, and my moderator that will be typing for us is Sarah Ramirez. So if you have any questions to ask us, please type them in the text box and she will relay them to me. You will get a CPE link at the very end from Sarah, so make sure that you stay until you get that link. So a little bit about myself. I teach fifth grade at Ruth Roach Elementary. I've taught fourth and fifth grade. This is my ninth year in teaching. I teach math and science, but in the past, I've taught all subjects, which actually leads me into today's topic. While I was teaching social studies, we always integrated timelines into our lessons in history, and I always made my students get construction paper and colors and then create a timeline of their own. I wasn't aware at the time, however, that there are certain technology standards called ISTE standards that we need to meet as teachers. They're kind of like the TEKS of technology integration. So I could have taken my lesson on timelines and still have had them create one, but instead of doing it on paper, they could have done so many different kinds of possibilities using an online timeline maker. Students are more excited about doing online timelines, and they really do have many more possibilities by using it. So we should be creating those 21st century learners, which includes opportunities to use technology as they would in the real world. So I'm going to switch over so that you see what I see. Okay. So I was talking about the ISTE standards earlier. I'm going to go ahead and show you where you can find that. If you go to iste.org, over on the right-hand side, you'll see standards. You can see some for students, educators, leaders, coaches. So we're going to go to students and see what they need to be doing. And this is where you can find out what they should be doing as students. There's an empowered learner, the digital citizen, knowledge constructor, innovative designer, computational thinker, creative communicator, and global collaborator. So under each one of those, you can click the indicators, and it just like TEKS, they pop up of what they can be doing. So it's a really good way to make sure that we are using technology and we're integrating it within our lessons. So what I'm going to be talking about today is a tool that you can use for any topic or subject. I'm going to introduce Time.Graphics to you. This is a free tool that can be used on a PC, Chromebook, or an iPad. It does not have an app, but you can still use it as the browser mode on the iPad. Time.Graphics allows students and teachers to create timelines using many different kinds of resources, which we will go over in just a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you Time.Graphics. So if you type in Time.Graphics, the homepage will pop up that looks like this. And over on the right-hand side, let's let it finish loading. It's still thinking. Okay, on the right-hand side, there is a login button. It's very tiny and it's very easy to miss. So we need to press that login button. And you have many different options to sign up. However, I recommend you using your Google login so that it links you to your GISD account. Before we dig in, I do want to make sure to tell you that this online tool is also compatible with different languages. So I'm going to sign in with Google and show you that. So I know that I'm signed in. I see my little initial, my P. Over at the top, that's what I'm talking about, the 7 different languages to choose from. Of course, I'm going to do English today, which this is really helpful for many different kinds of classrooms, especially our bilingual classrooms. We have Spanish. You can also come over to the left-hand side, the public timelines, and view timelines that have already been made by others. So I know 5th grade is wrapping up on the War of 1812 right now, so let's research for pre-made ones for us. And this is a really good way to show the kids what different timelines could look like, so it would be a good model for them to base it off of. So we'll do War of 1812. Okay, so I'm going to click this one. And let's see what they did. Now notice with this pre-made timeline, they choose to have circles. I will go into a few other ones to compare what they did. If you click on each one of these circles, it'll give you pictures and a description of what have happened that year. You can include Google Maps of today's world versus what it looks like in the past. This is a very interactive way to include the students, and it really helps them organize their thoughts. I'll click on another one so you can kind of see. Again, there's a map to compare. Obviously, they didn't have those highways. This can kind of compare what they did, how it looks like to the past. So I'm going to go back and look at another example that's a little bit different, and we'll do this one. In this one, you can see that the icons are different. They're rectangular. Okay, they didn't go really much into depth. They just chose to say what the year was and what description it was. Okay, this one they gave a good picture. Okay. So it integrates a lot of the reading different strategies within other subjects like text features that we talk about in reading. And it's really not only just used for social studies, we can also use it for different kinds of subjects. So let's go back to timelines, public timelines, and let's research for science. Let's do electricity. Yep. Let's do the second one right here. And as you can see, it can be used for the history of science as well. You can use the same, click on it, gives you the power system. You can use the same to teach sequential order of a storyline as well for reading. You're going over the story, you could do a timeline of what's going on. And if you look at the bottom of this page right here, you can download, you can export into a program of your choice. So I'm going to export. And notice that it will give you different options. It will give you Google Drive, tons of different things that you can choose from, the PDF. If you choose download, it will just give you a snapshot of what it looks like. It won't be interactive. So if I push export and I push drive, it will actually hook up to your drive. And I've done that already, and I'll show you how that looks. It'll create a little category already for you. And this is how it looks. So it gives you different options that you can choose from. And again, they're just snapshots. And the great thing about logging in through Google is that it's already hooked up to your GISD account if you would like to use the Google Drive. However, like I said, it's only a snapshot. It won't be interactive unless you're on the actual program. But it is good for viewing when you're working offline. It also gives you the option down here to embed if you would like to show it off on your classroom website or your blog right here. So down to the nitty gritty of actually how to create the timeline using Time.Graphics. Before we begin, I do want to show you a short a clip of how it works so you know where to go if you have any questions about the essentials. You can also go to facts up on the right hand side and it will walk you through most common questions right there. All these facts. Okay, and I will show the clip. There you go. Okay. All right. So as you can see, there are many different possibilities that you can create from. So now that we kind of have an overview of how it works, we can go and create one for ourselves. So we can go to the home page and it will show create right here. Go ahead and click it. And it'll come up with a timeline that looks like this. It goes to this year. And what is really cool that is if you don't know exactly what you're doing or you're confused or you can't remember how to do it, if you scroll over, if you click and then scroll over one of them, it actually shows up a bubble shows up and it's a how-to video, a tutorial of how to do that right there. So that's what's really neat about this. So if you notice at the top, it gives you an option right here, this little light bulb, of having it dark or light. So it definitely helps depending on the color font that later we're going to go over if you want to have a bright or a dim color. It also gives you a choice of taking the sound off. Every time you click or you scroll, it's going to have a sound. And it may be distracting to others or to themselves, so it's really nice to have that off or on. Also, it gives you the option of putting a background in there, this little camera. So I will show you how to do that to change the cover. And you can paste a clipboard like you saw in the video of the URL, or you can select a file. So I'm going to select, and I'm on a Chromebook, so I will go. Where's my? There it is. Okay. So I can choose what I want as a picture. I've already saved it previously. And it's kind of blurry, but it will show up as the background. You can fit it as your cover, you can do fit, or you can repeat it. It shows a little bit better that way. You can choose to change your brightness. If you want it brighter or dimmer. And the same thing with a blur. If you have a picture in the background, maybe you want to blur it a little bit. And the same thing for saturate. If you don't like it, you can press the little reset button and it will reset back to where it was. And if you don't like it, period, you can delete it. On the right-hand side, if you scroll over your initial, so mine's the P, it will also give you options to sign out, which is exit, to view all of your previous timelines, your profile, or your settings. Over to the left, you can search the library. You press these three lines. You can search the library, and it will give you all different kinds of statistics for different regions of the world. This would be mainly for our higher grades to use, middle school and high school. So if I go down, you can actually press depending on the country you want. If I go down, it's statistics by regions or by countries. So if I want to talk about, let's say we want to do Germany. And we want to talk about the agricultural land. It will actually create a timeline and show you, it loads. And do it. Let's try. There it is right there at the very top. So it shows from the 1960s, 60-ish, all the way to 2015, and depending on the square kilometer. And you can do that. You can compare different kinds. So if you want to compare Argentina, and you can see Argentina. So it's really neat, especially for those upper grade levels that you're going over certain things like that. So I'm going to go back to my create. And I'm going to start my timeline. Now, I'm going to do the simple thing, and I'm going to do my life as a student. So say I am a fifth grader. I'll click, and then I will do time period, which is this one right here. And when you scroll over it, it will show what exactly it is. So if I click on time period, you notice it will come up as a title. So I will put my life. You could do a description if you'd like, and then what year I want it to go through. So if I'm born in 2008, let's say March, and it's 2018 right now, November. And you can do BC, you can do current days. And then if you notice the position right here, you can have it on the top, or if I click on it, it will go to the bottom. It's just depending on your preference. Also, the design can change. It can go the font on the inside, above, and fade it out, or you can do like so. Okay. So I liked it like that. If you go down more, you have the general color. You click on the color and you can change what you would like. Same thing with the text color. You can change. And that's where at the very beginning I talked about the background color, whether you want it dark or light. It really depends on your font. You can also create events within the time period. So if, make it smaller, there you go, so you can see it. If I was born on this day, I would click it and I would create an event right here. And my new event is I was born. Description. I was born on April 13th, 2008. Okay, you can also click to put it on the bottom or the top, depending on how you want. And then same thing with the text layout, the left, middle, or the right. Same thing with the design. If you like the dot versus the others. And then the same thing with your color. It's very general, very easy to work with. And then when you're finished, you just click off and there it is. Now, if I want to add more, like you saw the pictures, I click on my event and at the top, I can add different things. So right now I'm going to do a map and I'm going to put where I was born. So I'm going to do Baylor, Dallas, Texas. And there it is. There is Baylor Hospital. So when I press OK, it now has embedded a map for you to see. Let's click off of it and click on again, and there you go. Okay. And it won't look like what we saw until we actually save it and look at it as a different way. So say we want to add that we were in kindergarten. So we'll pretend like it's 13. I didn't do the math. And I started school. Description. I went to Ruth Roach Elementary on this day. Same thing with position, up, down, text layout, how you want it, design, and then again the color. So for this one, I want to show a picture. Maybe I want to show the logo of the school. So I'm going to add an image right here. And again, you can copy and paste the URL or you can select a file. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And we'll do that graphic. And you can enlarge it. You can crop it any way you need to and save it. And there it is. And you can notice down here, you will see the graphic as well. So my event 3, say way down the line, I have graduated 5th grade. I'm going to do another event. Graduated. And again, the description, the date, the position. And if you'd like to show a video, you walking the stage, you can add the video and it goes directly from YouTube, the URL link. So you'll just go to YouTube, you'll copy and paste the link, and then you'll put it in here, press OK, and then we'll have a video ready there for you. Another thing I do want to show you is that you can upload your Google Calendar. And so I'll show you how that looks. I'm going to go ahead and create another event. I'm sorry. And if you see the Google, you can add sheets, the spreadsheet. You can add your calendar. That's what we're about to do. Um, we can import. We can go into the search. So I'm going to do the calendar, which is really neat. And I actually am going to create another one. I'm not going to save this so that you can see really how it looks. So again, Google, my calendar, I'm going to press it. It'll ask me if I want to sign in. Of course I do. So I can get my calendar. I will allow it. And it gives you what you have under your calendars. So I'm going to pick the class calendar. And then depending on the day, hopefully it loads. No, come on. Let's try this again. Oh, no, cancel. There it goes. Okay. Ah, sorry, guys. Let it reload again. Our internet's slow. Okay, I didn't say it. So let's go ahead and do the calendar again. More practice. Let me sign in again. And again, what's really cool about this is it brings in everything that you have from your calendar. You don't have to create the timeline. You don't have to create the events. They are already inputted for you. Oh, that's so sad. I wanted you to see it. There we goes. Okay. So if you notice, we had a lot going on. This was last year that we had our calendar, and it input everything that we had on my calendar. It is on there. So if grades were due, I can click on it. I can give you the description. I can do the timeline, position, same thing. If I don't like it on the top, I want to spread it out because obviously that's a lot going on at the top. Same thing with color. You can add pictures. So again, we had a spelling bee over here somewhere. If I click on the spelling bee, I can show a video of the person doing the spelling bee or a picture of them winning. This is very, very cool. I love that you can integrate your Google onto Time.Graphics. So if you look to the left, you will also notice that it gives you options to show the events in a table instead. And this is the timeline, this is the table. So I'm going to click on the table. And this is just another way to show the students how they can organize their material if they would prefer to have it there before they look at the actual timeline. They can edit it this way, and it really is more organized. When they input it on the table, it will automatically do it on the timeline, which is very, very neat. So they don't have to actually do the timeline at the time. So when you save the video, which is right here, that green button, it is important to know that since it is a free tool, it gives you only one option to save and that it is going to be public. Since premium is going to be, you're going to have to pay for it, that would give you link. So anyone has a link, or you can do private, but I'm not going to pay for it. So I'm going to do public. So when you do public, it's important to know that since we want to make sure we're abiding by the law and making sure that students are not putting their personal information on there. So I did a life timeline because it was the easiest thing to show you in such a short span of time. But remember, the students do not need to put personal information since it will be public for everyone to see. Students will remember this type of project because you allow them to create ownership with it using something that they can integrate with. They can use it with instruction. You can use it for a project or even for your think tanks for younger levels if you have iTime. This tool would be a really good for any age, including middle school and high school. So I'm going to come back over here. It's me again. So I hope you enjoyed learning about a new tool with me, and hopefully you can implement this in your classroom. In a few seconds, Sarah will be putting the CPE link for your credit, and we will be hanging out for a couple of minutes if you have any questions that we can address. So thanks for joining us.